I chose Passengers, which I'm now realizing it's not the best, but just because I'm a G, I'm gonna do this.
When I was a child, you know what I wanted in a movie? More Sylvester Stallone. And this film gave me 3 Sylvester Stallone.
Correction, 4.
4. Guys, it is the greatest. It is the greatest movie of all time.
Why did we laugh there?
Why are you guys laughing? We're gonna get
The way you
cancelled.
said it, that's all I'm laughing at.
I did not see this coming.
You picked the ball!
Plot Armor! Welcome to another episode of Plot Armor, the show where we fight fair but fight hard to answer stupid questions about the movies you love, hate, or have never even heard of. My name is Vincent, I'm your host. Let's meet our contestants. Sitting in the middle, you may know his face because you know his channel. He's got YouTube chops and a voice that pops, collecting D&D dice and non-stop geek drops. Give it up for Caleb Janssens. Welcome back to your channel, Caleb.
Thank you. I love being here where I am, on my couch where I live.
Well, then that's a good thing that you're here again. And then next to him, it's a new face. From Limpopo's beats to the camera's frame, he rapped his way in and carved out his name. Give it up for Kagiso Selepe. Kagiso, it's so good to have you here. You were one of the guests I wanted on from the conception of the show. How does it feel to be on the camera? You've apparently got a big fan behind the camera. So yeah, but it's good to have you.
Yeah, very happy to be here. Very happy to be here. Very nervous, but yeah.
No, you've got it. We'll still see a lot of funny things from you, I have a feeling, coming up. And then, last but not least, sitting next to me, from managing paper by day to MotoGP trips to Qatar, he's got film facts lined up like a Hollywood star. Give it up for Jeff! Welcome to the show, Jeff. How does it feel to be on?
How's it? My name is Jeff.
Hell yeah. He really was so excited to get that. That's his spirit animal.
I've embraced it. It's my identity. So it's very lucky to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's awesome to have you on. I know you're going to impress us with your film knowledge.
I'll try my
Caleb's
best.
scared, he told me. The truth is, if we have to be honest...
You know what the issue is? I wanted to come in guns blazing, and now you've already disarmed me.
No, the truth
and
is...
now when we start arguing, we're
Sir, excuse me. I will say, Caleb is here to kick ass and take names.
I'm here.
He wants to win this.
I'm here.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, I'm here to eat ass and kick gum.
Oh.
And I'm all out of gum.
Not mine.
I don't want any part of that.
I'm going to give you guys a tip. Just do something funny and he'll lose again. Like last time.
I saw the last episode.
Okay, but without further ado, I believe as the gentlemen say, I'm quickly going to read us through the rules.
Okay.
The rules are simple. 3 contestants face off over 5 debate topics. Each round runs 10 minutes and the host awards a point to the most passionate debater, the one with the sharpest argument and fiercest rebuttal. After 5 rounds, the top 2 scorers enter the speed round showdown. 5 rapid-fire questions with just 20 seconds to argue and 15 seconds to rebut. The overall winner gets crowned main character of the episode, while the other gladiators fade into obscurity as the extras. But before we get to fighting, I don't know about you, my throat is a bit dry, parched. So in front of us, we have these delicious, beautiful mocktails, because we don't drink on the job. Cheers.
Cheers.
From
cheers.
the great and powerful cheers Tabadine, who has sponsored our lovely refreshments today.
This is the only reason I come.
Yes. There's no alcohol in there, I promise.
But I thought you were here for another reason.
Okay, bye-bye.
How much did he spill? You can't see this. The couch is soaked.
KG, you're off to a good
There's ice everywhere.
Kagiso's been defeated by an inanimate object. Okay, this one is called a medley of berries, and it is a combination of, you guessed it, a bunch of berries. So enjoy. Let's take a sip, taste that. I'm sure we already have.
Yeah,
Very
Careful,
delicious.
Kagiso.
Very,
Careful.
very delicious. So delicious that my clothes want to.
taste as well. Very refreshing. Big compliments.
Okay, but we're not here to sit and talk about drinks all day.
Damn.
So let's get fighting. Are you guys ready? Are you gladiators, fighters, combatants ready?
I'm so ready.
Yeah, boy.
Let's get into it. Question number 1. It looks like all the Marvel properties have finally reunited after years of being separated. But instead of a fresh entrance, a lot of the old X-Men cast will be returning as older versions of the characters in Avengers Doomsday. We ask you to imagine a world with new mutant faces, or in other words, recast the X-Men. We will be specifically focusing on Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. Big task, Caleb, we're going to start with you.
Fantastic. Okay. Oh, you want me to just go through?
Yeah, so take us through your names, and if you want to say a little something on it, you can.
Okay, cool. So I want to start off. Let's start off with Professor X. I decided to go with Paul McGann. You'll notice I'm dressed up as Doctor Who today. There's a Doctor Who element to my casting of the X-Men. So I've decided to go with Paul McGann to play Professor X. Why? Because Paul McGann has an incredibly soft side to him. He can be incredibly loving and tender and kind to those he loves, but he's a strong, firm leader, and he also has that rough edge to him. And I think if you're casting Professor X, you also have to cast someone who looks good without hair, and he's got a fairly decent dome, so I think he would be a great casting. In regards to Magneto, I went with Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor. The reason I chose him is he has got such an aggressive side to him, such a manipulative side to him. If you've watched 28 Days Later, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But he is someone who also exudes charisma. So 100% I'm going with him. For Wolverine, I'm going with one hell of a plot twist. I'm going with Chad Gable, who is a professional wrestler, WWE. Who saw that coming? He has the physicality down to a point. If you want a Wolverine who isn't violent, what Wolverine are you wanting? Also, you can go, a wrestler? A wrestler, really? If you look at the world of wrestlers at the moment, WWE has produced some of the most prolific actors out there. Batista, The Rock, John Cena. So don't think for a second that just because he's a wrestler, he doesn't have the acting chops. He's also within Wolverine's height range, which I think we're wanting. We're wanting a short Wolverine. And also, Wolverine's from Canada. Where do you think Chad Gable's from? Not Canada, but how cool would it have been if he was?
Okay.
Keep going. What do you have
And
about
then
this?
for Jean Grey, I went with Jenna Louise Coleman, who is, I've got such a crush on her. She is beautiful. But besides
Some
that,
say the female version of you. You say that sometimes.
sometimes we're just so good looking. But she is an amazing actress. I love how she can carry herself. If you've watched Doctor Who or if you've watched Sandman, she is someone who can handle authority. She can basically order a room around and people will listen. So I'm going to go with her for Jean Grey.
And then Cyclops?
Cyclops, I went with Daniel Radcliffe, who a lot of people have said, we want him for Wolverine. No, I'm going to spice that up a little bit. Daniel Radcliffe, I think, is an underrated actor in the fact that people go, oh yeah, Harry Potter. No, he's much more than just Harry Potter. His roles are fantastic. If you see him tackle a film like Swiss Army Man, you know he has the acting chops.
I've seen that.
Yes. So no, I think across the board, he is someone, and we've also seen he can carry a franchise on his shoulders. He has the ability to lead a team like that in a believable way. You don't take Harry Potter and go, oh yeah, no, I don't buy him as a leader. No, he led a revolution in a wizarding school. He can lead the X-Men.
It's the bold guy.
Yeah.
Jeff, let's hear from you.
Okay, Professor X, I went with Ralph Fiennes, who's best known for playing Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter franchise.
That was unintentional.
So he can rock the Chrome Dome, so that's a good start for him. I'll get more into why I've selected him a bit later. I've also gone with Alexander Skarsgård for Magneto. For Wolverine, I went with, I must remember, Scott Eastwood.
Yes.
Okay. Then with Cyclops, I went with Glenn Powell. Mm-hmm. And for Jean Grey, I went with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, Kagiso, take us home. Tell us your castings.
All right. My casting for Professor X, I went with, give me a second, Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I
to read
see
it.
him. I see him. And then for Magneto, I went with Michael Shannon because I feel like he looks like a villain, but he can go both ways.
Yeah?
Right. And then for Wolverine, I went with, drumroll, Taron
Execution,
Taron.
KG.
Execution!
It's the execution. But Taron Egerton, most people know him from The Kingsman. But I think he's a brilliant actor. And we'll get into why. He's my Wolverine. And then Cyclops is Timothy Chalamet. Timothy
You chose people that you can't pronounce their names.
But no, everybody knows my weakness is names, which is why I have.
But not arguments, yeah.
My argument will stay. And then my Zendaya plays Jean Grey for me.
That's perfect.
That's my Zendaya.
I love it.
Okay, so we're going to do this a bit differently. I don't want us to sit here and fight over 15 people. That's a bit of a Avengers Doomsday. Yeah. What I want us to do and how we're going to handle this is we're going to tackle one X-Men at a time. So I'm not going to give you chances. It's your job to defend your title and you'll have about a minute per person. So let's make it count. And we are going to start with Cyclops.
So the reason we're going to go with my choice for Cyclops, okay, who obviously I went with Daniel Radcliffe, is because
we already heard why. I want to hear why not. Fight the others. We don't have time for whys.
I don't remember what you guys picked, so obviously we're going to go with my choice.
Okay, then someone else take over.
You went with Daniel Radcliffe. Why? He's a short, stack guy. I don't know. He doesn't have that. How can I say? Let's put it this way: Cyclops is a leader in the X-Men. He's even led the X-Men in many different depictions of the character. I can't see Daniel Radcliffe doing that. Yes, he led a franchise, but I mean, whenever anyone looks at Daniel Radcliffe, all they see is Harry Potter. So it's very hard to see him outside of that role. So I don't think he's a good fit.
That's a terrible, terrible reason. By that logic, Henry Cavill could have never been The Witcher because when we see him, we only see Superman. No, actors are actors. They play different roles. That's a terrible reason.
Again, Kagiso, I want to hear from you.
Okay, for me, I don't know. I don't know if your Cyclops works. because my Cyclops works because imagine.
Who's your Cyclops? Say his name.
Timothy.
Good. Great.
My Cyclops is Timothy. Mm-hmm. Imagine him. Just see him with I can already see him with the shades. He's a fantastic actor. And then I think he can also lead the role of...
He's a teenage heartthrob with floppy hair. He will not work in the role of Cyclops.
So the issue I have with Timothy is I feel like you just recently watched Dune and you just want to see Timothy and Zendaya on screen together again. No, the issue I have with Timothy is very much similar to what you said, but he doesn't exude confidence. I see him and I go, very similar to what I said in a previous episode. I could take him on in a fight.
That's why.
And if I want to take on Cyclops, I don't want to fight Cyclops. I could fight your.
That's why Glenn Powell works. He's a up and coming, really doing well Hollywood actor right now. The likes of Top Gun Maverick. So he's got the charisma. Cyclops.
You just want to see Cyclops shirtless.
No, I do not. Cyclops has got charisma, and I think Glenn Powell taps into that really well.
Okay, cool. I'm calling that one. So I'm not going to say who's going for what. I'll make a decision at the end. Let us fight Professor X.
This is why my Professor X is the perfect Professor X. Giancarlo is the perfect. It's the most ideal for Professor X. For one, all the roles he has played, he's the authoritative figure. He's the leader. He's powerful, and he's somebody that can play both ways. Like he can also be emotional. If you guys have watched Kaleidoscope, you know what I'm talking about.
I think what you've done is you've gone, oh, who's a really popular actor right now? I'm going to go with him. And the truth of the matter is he is a great actor when it comes to evil characters. I very rarely see him in a role where I'm like, he looks like the kind of guy I'd want to go to mentor me. He looks like the kind of guy who could be the principal of a school. And I think a lot of people of us are forgetting that's also Professor X's job. Yes, he's there to be the pseudo head of the X-Men, but he's also there to teach people, to enable people, to uplift them. He is supposed to be a comforter to his students. I don't think your guy has that.
Okay, I want to hear from Jeff.
No, Giancarlo he's known for playing villainous roles, like whether it be movies, even in the Far Cry video game. So he's known as that. That's his archetype. So to now rather have Ralph Fiennes in that role, because yes, he's played a villain, a very famous villain, but I think he's got the gravitas, the acting chops, he's got the emotional depth to be vulnerable. Professor X is known for being a vulnerable character where he has to take care of students at a school. So I think that's why he'll be a good fit for that role.
No, he definitely can. But my biggest issue with him as well is like, he's looking a little bit too... You chose a good guy.
Okay, that's calling that in. Let's go for
But no
Magneto.
one attacks Paul McGann.
No need to.
I think what a lot of people seem to think in regards to Magneto is he really is a tour de force. He's charismatic and he is powerful. And he doesn't just use his powers to wipe people off the table. So I'm going with Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston is by far the most respected actor, in my opinion, on this list. and you guys are completely ignoring the fact that he's been in the game for such a long time, and there's a reason why he's often taking on roles where he gets to be this powerhouse, because he can handle it in every single direction.
No, I'm going to argue against that. I think with my choice, which I forgot, Alexander.
There's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Alexander Skarsgård. I mean, okay, take it. He was in True Blood, The Northman. He's a quiet, menacing character. That's what Magneto is. He has that demeaning character. And whereas in Kagiso's case, Michael Shannon, he's known for being an angry character. Take, for example, Man of Steel. He's always angry. Magneto has his moments of anger, but not in most cases. So that's why I think a quiet, menacing figure like Alexander Skarsgård works perfectly.
You just want to see him shirtless again.
No!
Guys,
I hear you.
Yeah.
But where else have you seen Michael Shannon besides Superman?
In dramas.
Yeah, but he can go into that. Look, this is who I see Magneto as the character. Yeah. Magneto is a character that is so deep.
I will find him!
He's so deep that even if you watch X-Men First Class or something like that, his motivation is that he was best friends with Professor X. They were the team, but then he saw that the goals are no longer aligned. He wants to fight for the mutants. He's someone who's angry, but with reason, with motivation, which is why Michael Shannon, it's the guy. Can you see Michael Shannon leading them?
You need a Magneto who's willing to be aggressive, but also willing to be reserved, because he is, at the end of the day, a leader who's wanting to fight for his people. There is a place of compassion within Magneto, but also a place of rage and anger. You're looking at someone who's a, World War II victim and survivor. He's going to have his emotional scars. You need someone who can carry those emotional scars and use them as fuel to light a fire, to lead a revolution against humanity.
Okay, let's move on to Jean Grey.
It's Jenna Louise Coleman, guys. She is amazing.
No.
She is someone who can lead a room.
I disagree.
She exudes strength.
She's known for these sweet girl type of roles. So that's why I think...
I'm sorry, sweet girl type of... She's a flipping exorcist in Sandman.
That's why I think Anya Taylor-Joy should be... I know, she's been in New Mutants where she played Magic. So she knows how to play a character with inner turmoil.
X-Men.
So it doesn't matter. Old universe. We can always bring back old actors. Marvel's known for doing that. So why not do this? Jean Grey has inner turmoil because she's now working towards becoming the Dark Phoenix and having the Phoenix inside of her. I think Anya Taylor-Joy can do that very well.
I see that, but visually, yes. But character-wise, I don't see her.
Okay.
Which is why, for me, Zendaya...
Point for look, all right?
For me, Zendaya is... For one, I mean, Zendaya is an amazing actress. And she can also play those emotional characters. We've seen that in Euphoria and other...
You just want to see her shirtless too.
No. Zendaya is moody and like she can play a depressing character,
Yes,
but
which is
Jean Grey is not depressing.
Jean is literally depressed.
No.
When she's...
Jean is a lovable character
Jean
before
has
she
depressive
takes
moments,
on
but she's not a depressive character.
Let's go to Wolverine.
Wolverine, we have to go with Chad Gable. This is a guy who's going to exude physicality, has charisma off the charts. Why do we actually love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? It's not just because Wolverine is an awesome character. It's because an actor like Hugh Grant has natural charisma.
Hugh Grant?
They're good. Sorry. Firstly, Hugh Grant does exude a ton of charisma. But Hugh Jackman... There are too many names to remember in this question.
Who's your guy?
Chad Gable.
Look, I can't remember
Chad Gable as Wolverine.
Yes, Chad Gable is a wrestler. Chad Gable is big. Chad Gable...
Wolverine is big.
Yeah, but
he's
Chad
short.
Gable is bigger than Wolverine. He is. Look,
Google
Wolverine... Look, I went with the twist, which is Taron, the guy that played in...
That's not a twist. That is like the most popular fan casting.
Okay, cool. Like, think about it. He is, I think, as short as Wolverine is supposed to be. He has a full beard. And then Wolverine also has those emotional moments, I think Taron can play that. And just imagine him. Like, I wanted to literally, like, make up a whole image and generate it just so you guys can see it, but I failed because of ChatGPT's policies.
No, listen.
But I see him as the character. Look, he can lead. We've seen him lead. He's done it so many times in many of the things that I've seen him play, but the one that stands out...
Taron is charismatic.
Yes.
But he is not cocky like Wolverine. Cocky, Wolverine is known for being.
What do you mean cocky?
He's cocky.
Yes. Have you seen him in Kingsman?
Nah, come on, dude. Not enough. Not on that level. He's playing the role of a Brit. Yes, that's what is expected of him. But I don't think that can lean into the character of Wolverine. Scott Eastwood is the son of Clint Eastwood. Right?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know acting was genetics.
So, yes, it is. So, he can play a rugged, no-nonsense character. It's genetic. It works. It had to pass down somewhere.
I'm sorry,
I
I
don't know.
guess
He
I'm the best rugby player in the world then.
For me, I think he looks very clean, and Wolverine is a little bit like scruffy.
No, he can pull off the rugged look.
Ah, come on.
I've heard enough. I've heard enough.
This was a rough one. There's
This was a rough
so many
question.
moving
It's a
parts.
tough one. We threw you into it. And to a degree, you guys stood strong. But there was someone that definitely stood the strongest. We'll get to that. And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to give you who won what in every point, because to the most part, you all fought well. But my reason for giving this point is there were such clear argument gaps for someone, and just no one picked it up. No one pushed against it. No one decided to take the low-hanging fruit, which is the point here, to pull someone's chair from under them. And that's why Jeff is getting the point here. Because it hurts me so much that no one points out that Alexander Skarsgård and Ralph Fiennes are 20 years apart and are supposed to be best friends in this movie.
I can be friends with an old man.
Yeah, you can. That is true. And for the most part, I think his argument stood the strongest. You didn't pull them back. Kagiso, you picked up well towards the end, and you had a solid one all throughout, but it hurts you that no one knows who you're talking about.
I'm sorry none of you guys know about the landscape of Doctor Who.
All of us here were Googling last night. With your
Disclaimer,
Chat game.
this was the question I was least prepared
No,
on.
but
so.
you did well, and I think you won half the battle with a great casting choice. Although you fought back against his rebuttals the best, but you did it just too late to get the point. So this point is going to go to Jeff. It's a very chaotic one. We threw some shit at the wall.
I even
Nice
spoke
one,
about
Jeff.
Swiss Army Man. And I got that.
I cannot be bought, sir. And on that note, we will go on to the second question. It is practically inarguable that one of the greatest directors of the century is Christopher Nolan, with an almost perfect track record of amazing films. But today it has to officially and finally be decided. What is the best Christopher Nolan movie? We're going to start with Jeffrey.
I went with Inception. The reason why I went with Inception, I truly believe it is a culmination of many different genres. Sci-fi, thriller, family drama. And I really think it's his best one because it's a story that's not based on anything that exists already. So it's not based on a book or on a comic. How often do you hear about a blockbuster being original blockbuster being released in cinemas and making 800 million plus US dollars? I think there's so many other things as well that I can talk about. The score by Hans Zimmer is truly iconic. That Brahm, it stands the test of time, and it really changed the way how movie scores were made after that, especially in trailers. My other argument is stylistically, it is very visually entertaining. You get to see like cool effects, like the zero gravity hallway scene. That was all practical effects. They used wires, no CGI. The collapsing of Paris, that was also quite a visual spectacle.
They did it for real.
If only. And then I also just think it really takes a lot of different things and puts it together, but it works. Christopher Nolan spent 10 plus years working on the script. He wrote this himself. So that just tells me it was purely out of passion and no studio fluff.
Okay, Kagiso.
Nice one, Jeff. I went with Christopher Nolan's second movie, following the following, which is Memento. So after the following, Christopher Nolan made a film called Memento, which is an original idea. The film is it's just your everyday story. It's nothing we have not heard or seen before, which is a film about a guy who wants to avenge his wife. But the way he tells the story, the death of his wife, who was raped and killed.
Why did we laugh there?
Why are you guys laughing?
Continue.
We're gonna get
The way you
cancelled.
said it, that's all I'm laughing at.
Continue.
So it's the way the film was told that makes it very, very unique. It is told in a non-linear structure. You know, we follow the story from the perspective of unreliable source.
Yeah,
Unreliable narrator.
And yeah, unreliable narrator, which is the protagonist who has a mental thingy. Like he can only remember for a certain amount of time, so he can't make new memories. So he has to remind himself through Polaroids and notes and making tattoos. I think that story was told really, really well. I mean, and it goes to show that the non-linear structure of storytelling, which is his autistic stylistic approach as a director, which he still does to this day. That's where it started. Which is why, for me, I think it's the best film he has made.
Awesome. Caleb.
Cool. I'm going to go with The Dark Knight because it really is, I think, the build up of everything that was great about Batman Begins. And it kind of reaches a peak there. But everything in regards to how Christopher Nolan brought this film to life is amazing. You have the best portrayal of the Joker ever, to the point that people are still talking about it to this day. And every time the Joker is recast, people compare it to the Heath Ledger performance. And as much as we all want to give Heath Ledger, props for his performance, he had to be coached by someone. He had to be directed by someone. And that was Christopher Nolan. And you can look at that across the board. His creative design is evidence throughout the film. He led the team with such brilliance. There is nothing in that film that you can point at and glare at. And I think what I really enjoy about the Batman trilogy as a whole is it doesn't really lean on Christopher Nolan's, I don't want to say gimmicks, but he has his own artistic weave and signature that we see in all of his films. You were talking about the unreliable narrator. You were talking about the different time trends and stuff. Those are all things that are present in a lot of his works, even yours. But it doesn't exist in Batman. He's kind of had to put himself in unfamiliar territory, but he excelled in it. It's where he had to push himself because he might not necessarily have been comfortable, but he delivered in a way he hasn't, in my opinion, since then. So that's why I'm going to go with The Dark Knight, because he really just brought his A game and he elevated everyone that was attached to it.
I love it. Fight.
I think both of you guys fall into the same camp of great films, but they start to feel like every other film he's ever done because it does start to follow his same signature. And I really feel that is why they kind of a lot of his films start to blend together. Oh, let's do this thing where we focus on different storylines happening at different times. It starts to feel the same.
Original storytelling versus adaptation of existing
You
material.
want to talk about original storylines? Guess what? That's art. That's movie making. Original ideas happen all the time.
10 plus years on a script,
I have an original
Caleb.
idea. Oh, it took him that long to write it?
Yes, because it's a beauty of
Does
it.
duration equal good? Because I can tell you, I spent 20 years on a movie. Doesn't mean I'm writing a movie.
quality over quantity.
I hear you, right? The Dark Knight is not an original idea. Everybody already wants to see that. He did well, okay, sure, but it's telling a story telling a mundane story and making it super interesting. That is why Memento is one of his best work.
No, Memento is Christopher Nolan's university thesis, whereas Inception is his PhD.
Ooh, that's a hard line.
Okay.
So what you gonna do now?
All right, it's fun. Okay, give it. It's good storytelling. Backward storytelling is interesting.
Sure.
First time, whoa. Second time, I watch it. Cool. Third time, I should have watched Inception.
I hear you.
But Inception falls into that very trap where even now, to this day, he's kind of using and that's why I spoke about his signature. It's becoming the exact same thing over
Inception
and over again.
is a cultural phenomenon. Think about the ending.
Using that word very loosely.
Think about it. At the people still talk about the ending till today. The top
spinning
fall
top.
over.
Yeah.
It's a
Right?
great one moment in a very long
Yeah,
film.
but that's the same debate people had like many years ago. Did Han shoot first? So it's the same top. Put it on par with that.
If you want to talk about moments, then you can look at The Dark Knight, which is a film filled with, like as all films are, filled with
There
moments.
are moments in all these movies.
There's a moment in every movie.
Okay, I hear you
whereas The
guys.
Dark Knight is full of moments that each time you see these different moments, they're iconic across the board.
Okay? My point is, in all these two movies you guys are referring to, he had big budgets. And Memento did not have such a huge budget, but it's a film that did so well. And even indie filmmakers love that film. They refer to that film. I studied that film in editing at film school. It goes to show that the power of editing, the power of storytelling. You know,
I read
and
somewhere
limits-
that a film lives or dies on the editing floor.
But I will say, before we go into I want you guys to focus on, because obviously all these movies are good. We're not arguing any of these are bad. I want you to tell me why your movies are uniquely his best film. That's the argument here. Why is this the best Christopher Nolan movie?
Okay, cool. What is the story that is told in Inception? What is the story that is told in Batman? I want you guys to answer that, and then I will tell
No,
you.
you come up. You make it
all watch that movie.
We didn't have time for that.
Okay, cool. But yeah, the stories that are told
I'm not
with
falling
a
into your
huge
trap.
budget, with a huge budget, it just goes to show how creative he is. He is such a creative genius that he was able to tell a great story. To this day, people still salute
So
that
you're
film.
saying his work has only actually gotten worse as time goes on?
No, I'm not saying it's gotten worse.
Well,
but
then
I'm saying
why is that the second best film? So his work has gotten worse.
no. I'm saying his work has been getting better, but that one was the best because of the limited resources he had.
My argument against Caleb now, back to the Dark
Roll
Knight.
it into a final
Okay,
argument.
my argument against Caleb with the Dark Knight is that it's based again on source material. Even Nolan admitted that he felt restricted within the box of toys he had to play with. Batman is Batman. You can't change him too much. Take away the Joker, what do you have? Two-Face, Maggie Gyllenhaal, not that entertaining. Where did the Joker have all the time in the world to go plant all these bombs in the hospital, in people's bodies? Didn't work. I don't know. That was a plot hole for me. With Memento, the same. It's just backward storytelling. There's no emotional climax. There's just like a dark twist and tattoos.
There is actually.
Wait, let him
Okay.
Sorry.
finish your points and then you
Okay.
get your final argument.
But why I say Inception is the best, again, genre fusion, good score, and just a visual spectacle. Just the amount of thought that had to go into something like this would take 10 years. Thank you.
Okay, Kakiso, final argument.
The reason that a whole group of creatives come together is to tell a story. Like, so far what I've heard, you don't really speak about the story of Inception. And let me tell you this,
You should have watched it.
with no, I've watched Inception.
Okay, then I don't have
But
to
like,
give the whole plot away.
It's not the thing that stands out for you. Like, even in your argument, it's not the thing that stands
spoke
out.
about
For
the
me,
top.
I'm speaking about the story. The story is
What?
a man that wants to avenge his dead wife. And then it also goes into like psychological things, elements or themes, and then asks us the question as humans, like, okay, cool. Because this guy, at the end of the day, he found out that he already avenged his wife. But then he chose not to remember that. He chose to ignore that completely, which goes more into like the human nature of, okay, am I going to lean into that pain, or am I going to continue being the investigator that avenges my wife, but now the person that I have to kill is just the next person, just to fill that void. I think it's the story that makes it work for me. A mundane story that is told really well.
Okay, Caleb, wrap it up for us.
So I completely understand why you, as an aspiring filmmaker, love the film so much, but there's no denying that Christopher Nolan gets better down the line. So I understand why you enjoy it. I love the story behind it, but it isn't his best work. I like what you did say about it's his college thesis, but that's where it is. That's where it is. If we want to talk about Inception, I understand what you're talking about in regards to blending genders, blending genres.
Not my Christopher.
And I understand what you're talking about in regards to the visuals, but everything you mention about that, you can apply to The Dark Knight as well. It does a fantastic job of reinventing and building up upon Batman as we know him from Batman Begins, but also from Batman mythology in general. Everything you say about your film, you can basically put onto The Dark Knight as well. Visually, it's amazing. The stunts work they do, amazing. The choreography is, we see Batman moves in ways he's never moved before. Yes, you're talking about, he feels like he was restricted. A large part of creativity is sometimes we are given certain rules and we have to follow it. You ask any creative, what makes you feel more fulfilled when you can do whatever you want? No, sometimes you start to feel lost. You don't know where your goal is. You give someone a set of rules, that's where they excel because they know where they have to go. And I think that's also why this film, in my heart, is such a great film, because not only was he given specific rules, he takes those rules, he applies them well, and he exceeds, he excels. There's a reason why people are still struggling to replace Christian Bale as Batman. It's because it was done so well.
Cool. And time. So, it's because I'm holding it? There you go. Okay, stop trying to steal the show, Vader. That was a great round. I really
was a tough
enjoyed
round.
that.
That was a
I
tough
really
round.
think all of you guys did a fantastic job. You fought well and you did your research, which is good.
It's difficult to say that film sucks
No,
because none of them
none
suck.
of them
They're
suck.
all
They're
great.
really good.
What I will say is, Kagiso, I think you did such a good job of putting a heart in your argument. Because what the truth here is, I know you love your movie more than these guys love their movie. The problem is, they knocked you down in two ways. Both of them, they beat you up together. And and the killer, the bullet in the head for me, which I was like, I don't know how you come back from that, is when Caleb said, no, not that. That's just a cute little statement. When Caleb said, are you saying everything Kagiso did? No, everything
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan did after his second film was worse. And you said no. You immediately then said, your movie is not the best movie. So you just discounted yourself, which is a great setup. I didn't even
I'm
think
sorry I did that to
It's
you.
a fantastic way to knock it down. But I know you had a heart, and I like that you stood up for the filmmakers. So great job. Jeff, you had a ton of good points about Inception, and the whole time I was like, this guy's going to win this. And then I thought, if I had to argue this, I would say that almost every point you're making, if anyone just says, hey, but that applies to my movie, then that's what I want to hear. And Caleb did say that, which is great. And also, he rebutted your point on unlimited creativity well, and in a way that aligns very much with how I see it as well. And for that, Caleb, you get the point.
You know what's crazy is while I was saying that, I was like, whew.
You were speaking to my argument,
Yeah.
actually. You were speaking into my argument.
But I'll take Jeffrey 1 point each. Let's not talk much more. I will accept the
This
point.
one hurts. I'm a Nolan fan.
Of all of the, this has probably been the hardest episode so far, because the first question was difficult with all the different names and stuff, and this one we all like Christopher Nolan. None of us want to go. Your film,
but
we
not
can't
as
say
good
it's
as my
not.
That's the
film.
thing. Sometimes a good rebuttal is the way to a point. Okay, let's move on to question number 3. I think it's safe to say that 99% of movies tend to take place on our green-blue home called Earth. But there's that 1% that dares to venture into the unknown. And in that unknown, we ask you, what is the best movie set in outer space? And we will start with Kagiso.
We're laughing because we know the answer.
Just because I'm a G, I'm going to stand up for this.
Okay? You brave little soldier.
I chose Passengers, which I'm now realizing it's not the best. but just because I'm a G,
Okay, let's hear you
I'm
say
going to
it.
do this.
Stick to it.
Passengers, the 2016 one, by the way. Not on this.
I thought it was older than that. Okay.
Just keep going.
It's a film set in space, and
Obviously.
the premise is a bunch of these people are put into, is it cryo sleep or something? Yeah, they're put to sleep, but like their body doesn't age. Some sci-fi thingy going on there. And then there's a crisis happens, and then this guy who's an engineer, Brett, what's the guy's name?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Yeah, the guy who always does bad sci-fi movies. Chris Pratt wakes up, and he realizes that he woke up like 90 years early. I mean, he's gonna die. He's not gonna see this new world that they're going to inhabit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my choice. Do I have to argue
No,
it
you
now?
don't have to yet. It's okay. Okay, I want to hear from Caleb.
So I decided to go with Treasure Planet, a film that is not only filled with beautiful animation, a fantastic score, and beautiful storytelling, but treats space as a character. We're talking about what's the best film set in space? Well, it's a film that makes me want to explore space more. You can't possibly watch Treasure Planet and not go, damn, I wish I was a space pirate traveling through space. I want to explore the different galaxies and universes. I want to see this place come to life in front of me. And that's why I went with Treasure Planet.
Awesome. And I want to hear from Jeff.
I went with Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, Volume 1, that released all the way back in 2014. I'm hooked on a feeling. And what more of a fun way to have that movie be set in space? And the space exploration is really cool in this movie. And I mean, you've got all the different types of alien species, a talking tree, a raccoon, you know, and then on top of that, adding to it, and I think it's such a big part of this movie, is the music, the 80s mixtapes that really play along with the themes of space. When they visit different planets, there's different themes. So that's very exciting to see. What I love about Guardians of the Galaxy is how it's filled with heart, humor, and it's all about, at the end of the day, misfits finding family.
Awesome. Before we fight, I want to do something a little controversial. I want to help Kagiso.
Can I just say, I'm at the point now, do we even rebuttal?
Kagiso, you have a very small % chance of winning now. But I want to give you an opportunity. And this is how you're going to do it. If you can throw me a zinger of a rebuttal to both of these where I'm like, whoa, and then just give me something for passengers, you can get the point. If you can succeed in these tasks, but otherwise, tell me a little bit more about Guardians of the Galaxy and Treasure Planet.
Okay, I would love to start. You did a great job of doing our jobs for us. Thank you. Where I would like to say, Jeffrey, I love how much you spoke about how Guardians of the Galaxy reminds you of Earth. You spoke about it has a talking tree and a raccoon. Wow, am I watching Pocahontas? Because that's what it feels like. Then you proceed to talk, I love the music.
Unreal.
What, the music from the 80s on Earth? What is otherworldly about Guardians of the Galaxy? You talk about, I love how it brings misfits together and they become a family. Great. That sounds like it's set on Earth.
Aliens have families too.
And so what I will say is you mentioned the wide variety of aliens. Great. Treasure Planet has that. Treasure Planet has that in an abundance. There are like 2 human characters in the entire movie of Treasure Planet, and you don't even see the mom for that long. You follow Jim as he interacts with all of these different aliens. And as I mentioned earlier, space is a character in and of itself. The film is about exploring space, finding a lost planet. You can't tell that story anywhere else. It has to be in space. You're trying to find this planet. Space, the universe, is a character within the movie. And that's why, for me personally, it's just, not only is it arguably the best movie out of the 3, it is the best movie in space. Space is a central part of the story.
Okay, let's hear more from the rest of you.
Okay.
Let's hear it. I want to hear.
Okay. That's Sinbad in space, my boy.
In space!
Sinbad.
That is Sinbad in space. That's your film. Let me tell you why Passengers is good. I love films that have limitations, that work well with limitations.
Okay.
Look, Passengers is a 3-cast film. So we have Chris Pratt, and we have who's that?
You did this.
Beautiful.
You didn't have to.
Why did you pick this film?
Jennifer Lawrence.
We have Jennifer, and then we also have the guy that plays the bartender. I forgot his name.
Okay, tell me why his movie sucks.
I'm going to tell you why my movie is
Okay.
good. You know,
Okay, he's going to defend it to death. Let it go.
it's set in space. It actually is set in space, you know, and they don't try to do those elements of Earth or whatever, like your movie, I'm Groot, or his movie, which is Sinbad in space. So yeah, like the movie speaks to themes of selfishness, because Prit there, he doesn't.
KG, Passengers is a love stalker movie that dooms a woman to death
No, eventually
because he is lonely.
Yes. What would you do if you were in that situation?
Not that!
Any human being that is that lonely would do.
It sounds like a Netflix true crime documentary waiting to happen.
And any human being put in that situation where you are so lonely.
You're talking about the wrong Chris Pratt movie. The right Chris Pratt movie is Guardians of the Galaxy. Set in
These are the kind of
space.
singers you need to deliver.
Okay, let's go.
So, again, I agree with KG. Treasure Planet is Sinbad in space. It's a Disney black hole. Right?
What?
It's a ship that sunk
Okay.
for them financially. It is not really that iconic in terms of memorable quotes, settings in space. It's it's more like, oh, okay, cool. I see it in the bargain bin at the shop. Very cool memories from my childhood, but nothing more than that. Yes, it's a character maybe set. You said about it's in space and all of that, but I think where Guardians of the Galaxy thrives in space, these characters. Okay, you said a talking tree, and now you've highlighted Pocahontas, but that's not real. That's not Earth. Earth had a very small part to play in Guardians of the Galaxy. The whole thing was about, Star-Lord finding his way in space, and he had to embrace it and join a band of misfits on a mission. And then eventually they're like, you're not that bad. We can be family, And I'm gonna close my argument here.
Yeah, sure. You can wrap that into a final.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it in one way. We are Groot. We, as in me, I'm winning this debate.
Okay. Kagiso, final argument.
I think my film sets in space, but it also speaks to like loneliness. Like this man was so alone that he had to do something bad, which he in the end he fixed. She was put back to sleep, and I think he also saved everyone. So it's a film that is simple but set in space. And this guy was so alone. What would you do if you were alone? Like him, you probably would do the same thing.
Why does yours sound like a government debate? Why? I've done bad things. But if you were in charge of the country, you do bad things too.
Okay, Caleb, finish.
Okay, so thank you, KG. Jeffrey.
You can see his...
I think, Jeffrey, you've done a really, really good job of coming up with some really cool lines that sound cool, but don't really hammer home the point. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. If we're talking about a film set in space, and arguably we could even go, well, if we're talking about the space exploration part of it, Guardians 2 and sometimes even Guardians 3 explores space better, explores the travel through space better. So I think maybe even Guardians of the Galaxy 1 wasn't the best in regards to choosing the best film set in space. Again, fantastic film, but you could swap out pretty much any of the planets with another generic alien planet and the story would be unchanged. A big reason why Treasure Planet is so iconic. I mean, when you think about the architecture of it, everything feels so alien. When you're looking at Jim's homeworld, not Earth, very, very alien. You look at the moon port, from the distance, oh, yeah, well, that's the moon. Oh, no, that's not the moon. That's an entire base. That's awesome. Great. We have these spaceships that are boats. That's incredibly alien. Everything about the film takes us off the planet and takes us to an alien universe where we aren't are. Where we aren't are is good English. And that's why I will die on this hill.
You guys are dying on hills, right?
I will die on this moon hill. On this hill that is alien.
Awesome.
And that's why I would say that it is very much the best film set in space.
Damn.
Nice one, Sinbad.
Also, I will say this. You guys both said Sinbad in space, elevating the space aspect all over again.
Okay,
So-
but. Okay, let's just get it over with. Kagiso. So
I'm here for a good time.
knowing
Here for a good time, not a long time.
knowing what you were bringing to the table, I was like, maybe he's got something up his sleeve. Turns out you were wearing a tank top. And on top of that, I also just would say that the bullet in the head was when you said Chris Pratt, who is known for bad sci-fi movies. So, if you found a way to stick to your guns, you could have sounded like a winner, but instead you sounded like a sleazy lawyer. So that unfortunately discounts you. Jeff, you did a good job at setting it up. But the thing about me is I love a good rebuttal, and unfortunately you couldn't climb the hill that was Pocahontas. And things bringing you
was
were
good.
brought back down to
I
earth.
give it to you.
Yeah, thank you. As soon as you said that, I was
yeah.
like, I'm fingers crossed I was going to say this.
And you didn't rebuttal that, which is fair because that's a great point. And Caleb just painted the best picture for a good movie set in space. And I shall just add that it is far superior to a bargain bin movie. It is a fantastic film and should have been more successful than it was. So Caleb gets the point.
Can't believe Sinbad won.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe Passengers lost.
That was a...
That was...
Chris Pratt lost?
Why did you choose that movie? What was your reason?
Look, I had recently watched it again, and then I thought it was a good movie.
Then
I don't know
Why did you give up on it in the beginning?
Because you guys' movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy, is good.
No one said Star Wars. There was a million stuff to open.
But like, I thought like we wanted to go a different route instead of like.
So if you stuck to your guns and found a way, I would have considered you, but you didn't. We will go to question 4. If it is true that the third time's the charm, then surely the third movie in a franchise should be the best one. Let's put that to the test today as I ask you, what is the best third installment of a franchise? And we will start with Caleb.
I went with The Return of the King. Ugh. Jeffrey, that better have been a joke. So I went with The Return of the King. Honestly, you can't ask for a better trilogy than The Lord of the Rings, and you can't ask for a better end to the trilogy than The Return of the King. I mean, let's just look at the accolades themselves. This was, for the longest time, the most awarded film in history. And
also the longest movie. Sorry.
No, and there's nothing wrong with a good film if the pacing is correct. And I genuinely, we will talk about it in greater deal soon, but I don't think people need to put The Return of the King on a pedestal. The pedestal was made for The Return of the King. It is just that damn good.
Okay, Jeffrey.
I went with an unorthodox choice.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids 3D Game Over.
Woo!
Okay, no one expected this one. I went with this choice purely out of childhood nostalgia. I love the Spy Kids franchise. I think the third one does a really good job of, bringing everyone up to speed. You could have watched the first and the second one, but the third one, what it does at the start of the film, does a quick 60-second recap so you can know what's going on. And then it dives deep into this world where, okay, it doesn't pretend to be prestige, but it is kids saving the world through gaming. And I think that's a fun time at the movies. So, I mean, theaters back in the day became arcades. It embraced this whole thing where 3D was dead and they revived it. Every millennial will look back at that time and remember the blue and the red 3D glasses that came in the DVD case when you bought it on DVD.
Awesome.
I'll start by saying 3D was not dead. James Cameron was bringing it back, and then that's why they made that movie. Anyways, I went with Tokyo
That
Drift.
was much later, dude. Know your facts.
Go for it.
Tokyo Drift, the third film from the Fast and the Furious franchise. It was a good time. We are boys. We love cars. Let's go.
Are you ready to fight?
Yeah.
Let's fight.
Okay, can I please just start off by saying Spy Kids 3 gave me what I wanted out of a film when I was a child. When I was a child, you know what I wanted in a movie? More Sylvester Stallone. And this film gave me 3 Sylvester Stallone.
Correction, 4.
4. Guys, it is the greatest. It is the greatest movie of all time. But what I will say, jokes aside, because as much as I love Sylvester Stallone, Spy Kids 3, you put a lot of attention on the 3D aspect of it. And I think, yes, okay, cool, but it very much was just a glorified gimmick in that film. Their version of 3D was, oh, look, it's close to the camera. And that's exactly what they did with Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
It embraced the chaotic cinema of the early 2000s.
If I can guarantee you this, if I'm busy watching Return of the King and Aragorn sword in the camera, it is 3D.
Okay,
I'm not going to enjoy the film anymore.
I'm going to rebuttal, I would expect it from you to emphasize on Return of the King on how many awards it won. Okay, yes, 11 Academy Awards. So did Ben-Hur. Do I want to watch Ben-Hur on the weekend? No. Snooze fest. Return of the King has too many endings. It should have ended 20 minutes prior. Like, oh, Frodo says goodbye, fade to black. Oh, we need to say goodbye again, fade to black. No, then there's more crying, fade to black scene. No, it's too long. Whereas with my movie, it's fun. It embraces this chaotic visual effects and just makes it fun for people. I mean, even the cast is stacked. It's got George Clooney, Salma Hayek, 4 Sylvester Stallones. More Sylvester Stallone? Come on. You wouldn't. Who doesn't want that? Okay, KG. Tokyo.
Adults do not want that. We are talking
Tokyo Drift. Okay. Come on.
Okay.
Third installment. Mm-hmm. Where's Dom? Where's Brian? Where's Letty? Okay? All it focuses on is cars, cool. Dialogue, pathetic. It's like really just very poor. I think it would have been much better if it had the characters from the first two films, which were absent in the third one. But I don't think a movie can really thrive if it's really focusing just on the cars and not a really good story. It's just about a guy from Alabama doing donuts in Japan.
Wait, I want to
I want to defend KG's
I want to
points.
get KG. I want to get KG.
Oh my God.
I
I did not see this coming. Look, it is very evident that Tokyo Drift was a successful film, which is why we still have another Fast and the Furious. Tokyo Drift came as an idea to see if, okay, cool, can we still continue doing the Fast and the Furious films? And then the idea was, okay, cool, let's come with a fresh new perspective. At the time, drifting was the coolest thing ever. I remember playing Need for Speed and drifting. It was perfect. The timing was perfect. The film, even though it's not really, there isn't really much emotional arcs going on, but who doesn't want to see cars drift and a bunch of guys fighting?
So, KG, I'm going to
And then also, can I also just go to your film?
Yeah, dude.
What is the most iconic line in Spy Kids 3?
Game
The
over.
dialogue, it's not really
Literally game over.
No, but that's it. That's like watching a game. Spy Kids is more like just watching a game. And they just wanted to play with 3D. They just wanted an excuse to use 3D in a movie. That's Spy Kids. It's done.
Yeah.
Why do we not have any more Spy Kids movies? Because it's dead. We still have another Fast and the Furious coming to show how successful.
But who's
and how much
excited
people
for the new
enjoy
Fast and Furious movies?
I'll say this. I'm going to first help defend Fast and Furious because I love Fast and Furious. And then we will talk. So we will defend Fast and Furious by saying that Fast and Furious obviously is still going on to this day. But it's actually at the expense in many ways of Fast and Furious 3. Fast and Furious 3, there's a reason why we don't see that kid from Alabama anymore. It's because he was actually so detrimental to the franchise as a whole that they didn't bring him back. They had to go back to the core cast of characters because they knew they could not build a franchise off of him. So yes, we love the cars, but you said it yourself. The character developments, where are they? They don't exist. We love car sequences, but it's definitely not the third best film ever made. It's not. You can't even pretend to claim that.
Okay.
I will say, yes, it has great moments such as the drifting. Han is amazing as a character, and that's why they do bring him back. But you've really shot yourself in the foot by choosing a film where the main character is so forgettable, the franchise forgot about it. Talking about Spy Kids, I love that you brought up Spy Kids. I love Spy Kids, but let's be honest, it's very much a movie made for children. You look at the visual effects, you go, damn, that's a great movie if it was made for the PlayStation 2.
Not bad for its time, though.
No, to say it's not bad for its time, when did it come out?
Okay, early 2000s, right? Yes,
Yeah.
you can measure it up to
Let's
other...
compare that
yes.
to
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings.
But-
to talk about the visuals, I'm sorry, you can't compare it.
Robert
The visuals-
Rodriguez's stylistic...
it is
that's
not
how he,
about-
that's his style.
it is- yes, and are you really I know we're arguing opinions,
Yeah.
right? But there are certain times where you can just say, no, your opinion is wrong. And to say in any way, shape, or form, hey, Spy Kids 3, let's say the visuals are stylistically better than The Lord of the Rings. No, it's just not true. And we can also say, again, I know I've been hammering the Sylvester Stallone hammer. And you even mentioned the fact that it had a stacked cast. Yes, but in regards to actual performances, no. These are surface level performances, and it's led by two children. And they're not the best children actors ever either. So as much as I don't want to rag on kids, they're kids, and their performances aren't necessarily deep. You mentioned that you don't have, the greatest character development moments in your film.
Mm-hmm.
The same can be said for Spy Kids. We're sitting there going, oh, the kids, oh no, the little Junie and his sister aren't getting along, but they're friends now.
That's the character.
That's the whole character. That's the whole film.
Do the final argument for me.
I would
So
like to
can
say
I-
no.
can I go against
he
him
Just
afterwards?
spoke.
After his
Yeah.
final argument, I'll go to take it to you, and then you can.
I've kind of argued against.
Do you have
both
a final
of
say as well?
Yeah, I've argued against both of your films, but I'm going to spend the rest just elevating Lord of the Rings. Words actually, it would be pointless for me to try and give you a long speech about why The Return of the King was as fundamentally amazing as it was. If you want to talk about it having too many endings, well, guess what? It had to tie up not arguably just the best movie trilogy ever, it had to wrap up the best adaptation of a book ever. And this was brought to life by so many people who loved it so much, who were so passionate about it, and wanted to give the characters the respect they deserve. And I think that's something that people don't realize. This film was so monumental. These weren't just characters to people. These were role models to people. These were characters that had actual real-life impacts on people's lives. When you don't treat those characters without the respect they deserve, you're disrespecting your audience. And you have to always remember, why are we making films? We're making art. Why are we? Because we need to tell somebody something. And the Lord of the Rings understood what it was saying to those who was watching it.
With you saying that, the film literally was supposed to end with the ring falling in the freaking lava. It didn't end there. Which is, why? Why do I keep watching? Why? Okay, cool. Yeah. It's a great film. I love it. But I get tired. I get bored.
Of watching cars go
this
round
is
and
the
round.
end. But then on the other hand, the reason why Fast and the Furious 3 was an experiment. It wasn't...
Fart in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. So, just
Fast
check.
and the Furious Tokyo Drift was an experiment, right? To see if we can still continue doing this. But let's see if we can take it elsewhere. That kid getting casted, that kid from Alabama getting casted for the first time, he's not even that much of a great actor. We know. But Fast and the Furious is not a film about emotion and crying and caring about my character development. No, it's literally a film about cars. You know, having a good time and seeing cars. And there is an emotional...
I'm here for a fast time, not a long time.
Yeah, and there is emotive moments in the film. I cried when Han died. I cried. I think we all did.
I cried. I know I cried.
Yes. And then we still have Han in the rest of the other Fast and the Furious films.
It's a good one.
So that kid was never
So what you're saying
initially
is,
meant
with
to
even
be
in the world of the Fast and
franchise.
Furious,
Okay,
your
wait.
film has no impact.
Are you
No,
done
that
with
kid
yours?
was never meant to be in the foregoing future of the Fast and the Furious. He was just a test to see if the film can still work.
Don't call my Drift King a test.
Wait. Okay, Jeffrey, finish yours.
Kagiso, what does DK stand for?
Drift King.
Donkey Kong. Spy Kids 3D. To speak about it within the scope of the franchise, okay? This is what the question was asking. All right, I know we bash each other's third films, but where would you go after Spy Kids 2 Island of Dreams? Want to go bold, bombastic, and just visually crazy nuts, balls to the wall. Take these kids and put them in an environment that was totally unexpected, and they are just having fun, achieving different levels in the gaming world. That's where I think it succeeds. And really just seeing this journey with Junie taking on the likes of Sylvester Stallone 4 times, but in the end succeeding. Whereas if I'm going to compare it now to the other films, yes, okay, Lord of the Rings Return of the King is a really great film. But yes, I don't think it works as a standalone film, whereas it cannot accommodate the casual moviegoer. If I think you want to go and watch that, you would have to be very invested in that franchise. Whereas if you're just a casual moviegoer, you're like, oh, cool, Spy Kids 3D, I can go watch it, have a good time. Didn't have
Can
to.
I say one sentence? One sentence. The question is, what's the best third film? Meaning it has to be the third of something.
On that, I actually think how Jeffrey's interpreted the question is very correct. The question specifically is, what is the best third installment of a franchise? So it does speak to how it correlates to the rest of the franchise. But it is, so you can view these as in a bubble of their franchise. It's not necessarily which of these 3 movies are the best compared to each other. It's which movie is the best third film in their installment. But that's not going to influence the points much. Don't worry.
Okay, I was about to say, if we're about to watch Spy Kids lose to Return of the King, Return of the King lose to Spy Kids.
So what I will say, though, is you did a very good job of fighting for Return of the King because it's an easy fight to fight. What's unexpected and quite impressive is seeing someone make me wonder whether Spy Kids or Return of the King should win. Because I never did wonder if Tokyo Drift should win. Sadly. Simply because you fought yourself. But I like your passion. Just follow through. And you made a few good points. I like the thing that you said about they wanted to see where else they could go, but inherently the fact that they didn't continue with that is why it didn't work. So they brought that up and that worked well. What I like about the argument that Jeff made, and you're not gonna like this, Caleb, is the fact that he and I was watching you guys made all of us sitting here be like, oh, I loved watching Spy Kids 3. And all of us were like, I want to go watch that again. And you started your whole debate by highlighting things you loved from his movie.
Yeah, fair.
No, the thing is, you can say it as a joke, but is it untrue what you said? No, it's not.
Since when have you wanted more Sylvester Stallone?
But
Who doesn't?
But I think he speaks to the heart of it, and I think what you say is true. It is a Robert Rodriguez filmmaking style, and yes, it's a film for children, but it's a great third installment. My heart is broken that you didn't say arguably the best Elijah Wood performance.
Oh, damn. Cameo.
I wish someone brought
Frodo or the guy.
I was worried there would be too much
that.
detriment.
So yeah, fair. But I think Jeff, you get this point. I like how you brought the cinema aspect. Fun fact: released the same year. These two.
No, I know, and I do have
Yeah.
I do have the DVD somewhere.
Of
Of
Return of
Spy Kids 3D.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so Jeff,
Yes.
that's
He also
your
has
point.
Tokyo Drift.
I do have Tokyo.
It's a cult classic.
So that puts us at 2 points, Jeff.
Guys, I genuinely can't believe Spy Kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 points, Jeff. 2 points, Caleb, and Kagiso. Just win this last point so that you can say you had one. Okay, question 5. The recent Disney Snow White live-action remake was a hot, stinking pile of garbage. But was it the hottest, stinkiest, piliest pile of live-action garbage that Disney has put out to date? You tell me. What is the worst live-action Disney remake of all time? And we're going to start with Jeff.
I went with the sequel to Alice in Wonderland from 2010, Alice Through the Looking Glass. It didn't need to be made. Finished in cloth. It was an unnecessary sequel to, not a perfect adaptation of Alice in Wonderland, but I think it really was wasted potential. It focused too much on the visual effects. Sometimes when you get lured by a white rabbit and you fall down a hole, it takes you to a world of CGI mess. So, yeah, I went with that.
Awesome. Kagiso.
I went with Pinocchio. I think the one with Tom Hanks. Yeah. That was a horrible film. It did not need to exist.
Tell me more. I want to hear more before we go to Caleb.
I mean, the film literally does not do any justice to the original film, which Rotten Tomato rated the original film 100%, and this one was like 20 or 26, but it was so low. It was bad, very bad.
Okay, Caleb.
So I went with Peter Pan and Wendy, which breaks my heart. I'm a huge, huge, huge Peter Pan fan, and the original Disney film and the sequel, Return to Neverland, are absolute classics in the Disney library. When you have a fan like Peter Pan and Wendy, which robs Neverland of its magic, which robs Peter Pan of his wonder, and which completely removes any sense of joy out of being a child, then you've actually not just ruined a good movie, you've actually completely forgotten the purpose of why movies like that are made in the first place. They agree with me. The outside noise is in agreement as to Peter Pan and Wendy being a bad film that butchers character development and writing and love of wonder. And that's why I go with Peter Pan and Wendy being the worst live-action Disney remake.
Okay, fight.
Tell me
Tell me why
mine's
Jeffrey
not
can
the
go
worst. No, tell me why mine's not the worst.
I would actually like to say, I think one thing that you're forgetting is you can have movies that have elements that are bad. And you said, oh no, this is just a visual spot fest. But there are many elements of your film that are good.
Please tell me.
Performances are actually
Yeah, the
wonderful.
performances were great.
Sacha Baron Cohen brings in a sterling performance, and usually he just plays these comedic characters like, is my wife. But in this film, in this film, no, exactly. He usually plays characters like that. But in this film, he actually brings a heartfelt performance. Yeah. And as much as you can say, oh, Johnny Depp has played the same character so many times, he does it with passion, and he is phenomenal at his job.
I don't think they did it with
You
passion.
asked me to talk. I'm talking. Johnny Depp is doing a great job with his performances, and then you have every single actor actually doing their best and giving good performances. There might be elements of this film that you don't like, but there are a ton of elements that are genuinely good and amazing.
I don't think so. I think like all these actors are standing in front of a green screen delivering lines that they don't feel passionate about. Even the White Queen played by Anne Hathaway didn't feel like she belonged in that movie. It felt so out of place. And going back to like the likes of Peter Pan and Wendy, okay, yes, it wasn't a great film, but I think it wasn't harmless. It wasn't. Yes,
It wasn't harmless, so it was harmful. You're right. You're right. It was harmful.
Okay, smart. Okay, I'm gonna go to KG.
No.
Okay.
Your bullets here.
Robert. Okay, I'll get back to Caleb. Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio. It still had heart at the end of it. Like, yes, okay, it was wooden. The CGI wasn't great. Yes, I've watched it, but I could tolerate that more than I did Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Can I also add to your point?
Right,
Pinocchio. No, I'm helping Jeff. Jeff and I are for a friend. We don't like KG. KG's the enemy.
Thank you, Caleb.
No. You know what? You want to talk about your Pinocchio film being bad. You know that your Pinocchio film wasn't even the worst Pinocchio film released that year?
I know.
There were worse Pinocchio films.
There was two. Oh, yes, there were
Yes,
two that
there
year,
were-
right?
No, there were
There were
three.
three
There were three that year. And I'm sorry. There's no way that your Pinocchio is as bad as Dad, when will you let me go? Father. So
I want to be on my own.
yeah, there is no world in which your film is even the worst Pinocchio film. There are redeeming qualities to your film. So I would say bad film, not the worst. There are still redeeming qualities to yours.
Okay,
By
Kagiso,
Jeff's
no,
own
let
admission,
Kagiso-
my film is harmful. That's how bad it
Let's
is.
Kagiso, you go a little bit.
Do you know the Rotten Tomatoes score for your film?
Tell me.
68.
You want to know what? We don't
just do facts
We
here.
don't just do facts here.
Heart. Go for more.
You know why? A lot of people feel that the film might... Okay, majority of the film is more Wendy than it is Peter Pan. It should be Wendy's film. But as much as there aren't those aspects that you want, the film still made sense. The film still worked. That's why it got a 68% review. Like, I couldn't go read all those reviews, but a lot of people like it. People love that film. You don't.
Why do you like it, KG?
Why do you like KG? I'd like to know why you love this
But
film.
go on. So continue. You can continue.
Let me tell you about why my film sucks.
Yeah.
First of all, the inconsistent accent with Tom Hanks. Have you watched that film? And then again,
Yeah, that's a no from Caleb.
yeah,
But that's fine.
And then again, the film. Look, Pinocchio has always been a film that teaches kids don't lie, tell the truth. The film teaches kids to lie.
Watch Caleb's
Because
nose
he
grow.
lies to get the key. So if you lie and lie and lie, you will eventually get out of your problems.
So I'm going to. My name is. I can't do a KG accent. KG, have you looked at the Rotten Tomato scores? Because I haven't read all the reviews of Pinocchio, but there are some people that like it.
26%.
26%. I think. You know,
It is. I've checked it. It's 27. But yeah.
oh, KG, get your facts straight. I think using other people's opinions, and you said you didn't even read all the reviews themselves, kind of just goes, really? I'm not going to say, oh, people didn't like your film, that's why your film lost.
Okay,
I'm
I
going
hear
to
you.
argue your film on its merits. And again, you want to talk about Tom Hanks' performance being bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is an amazing actor.
And he's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
But there were other people in that film that gave fantastic performances.
Like
and
who?
this, there was a lot
The
of...
cockroach.
There was a... Firstly,
The roach.
the voice acting wasn't bad. No, the voice
Cricket,
acting
but
for
continue.
the voice acting for Cricket wasn't bad. And as much as people wanted to get up in arms about the casting of the what was it, the Good Witch, the Blue Witch. I
It's
forget-
just the fairy
The
or
Blue
whatever,
Fairy.
yeah.
No, but what was her actual name?
Cynthia Erivo.
She didn't give a bad performance. There are redeeming qualities to your film. And yes, you might go, oh, I don't like my film. There are redeeming qualities to both of your films. What I dislike most about Peter Pan and Wendy is, please look at everything about the film. Nothing delivers. The performances across the board are
Final
bad,
argument.
boring, and bland. Across the board, the visuals are bad, boring, and bland. We're talking about Neverland, a world full of fairies and magic and wonder, and it's bland. You have a fairy who doesn't glow because the director said, oh, people won't believe that fairies can glow. Are you kidding me? This is a film that's actively trying to rob magic from its source material. There is nothing about this film that you can say is good. not the color grading, not the visual effects, not the story, not the performances. There is nothing redeemable about this film.
The music was great, man. Come on.
No, it wasn't. Again, you can everything. I'll say one more thing. Everything you want to say about Peter Pan and Wendy, please just go back in time and watch the Jeremy Sumpter version of Peter Pan. That is a film that was made roughly 20 years before this one, and it kicks this film out of the water. Great performances, beautiful, beautiful visual effects, and actually that had good music. The music in Peter Pan and Wendy was the most generic wonder music I've ever heard.
Okay.
Would not
Jeff,
suggest it.
final argument?
You spoke about Sacha Baron Cohen, and I think his villain was very lackluster. It wasn't like very enticing and keeping my attention. You didn't feel for the villain. The writing was very poor. I think the actors didn't feel like they wanted to be there. I mean, as stacked as they are, Johnny Depp, Ellen Bonham Carter, I mean, they didn't want to really be there. They felt the movie was supposed to build off the first one, and it didn't do that. It executed it poorly. Again, I am dwelling heavily on the visual effects, but that was really one of the poor points about that movie. It just took it down this downward spiral, didn't know what it wanted to be. It's a story about time travel. It didn't really make a lot of sense. It didn't need to exist. So that's where I think it fails. And it could have done a better job at telling the story that is faithful to the adaptation. And yeah.
Your film wasn't that bad, man. You're like, why are you whining? The film was
Why are you whining? Final finish.
Look,
first.
the film had amazing visual effects. Great music, great performances. Story lacked, I understand. But the film still carried itself through all the way from the first act all the way to the third act. You could follow it through, even if you didn't watch the first one. Look, I watched that film, and I had not seen Alice in Wonderland. That's the first one, right? I haven't watched Alice in Wonderland, no, but I watched Through the Looking Glass because of this argument. I was able to follow it through all the way through all the acts, the first act to the third act. And my film,
Movie's got 3 acts.
Think about Pinocchio. I'm pretty sure we all grew up reading the books or maybe even watching the film. It made us feel something. From the music to the whole story, like following it through. It felt amazing. And we learned the lesson of integrity, of being honest, of telling the truth. And if you watch that new Pinocchio, who's the director? Young. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he sucks.
He sucks. He just sucks.
It sucks so much. Because I tried to watch that film with my son, and he was like, no, let's watch something else. Because the music, and I think also another big issue is that Disney tried to be politically correct with this one, which is why it just failed. It sucks. I think that's the worst film that they ever made.
Time.
I love Darth Vader. He's my favorite character in this show.
Sis on you.
So
I thought we were friends.
I need to just clarify something. Do you mean that Robert Zemeckis sucks in this movie?
In the movie.
No, with this movie or all over the place?
Oh, no, like with just the film.
Okay, good. Because
Oh,
I'm
no,
just
that
I'm
film.
protecting you here
Jono
from the nerds.
gonna get comments.
So this was a great one. I enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed the different perspectives. I enjoyed hearing how you guys felt about your movie, and it was a whole lot of pointing at people and saying, "No, yours is good. No,
Yours is really good.
It doesn't suck as much as mine."
Yeah, it's a nice twist.
The truth is, I think almost no one saw any of these movies. And a lot of us had to go look these up because they are all terrible movies. And I'm surprised to find out that yours has a high Rotten Tomatoes scores. Usually I don't care about stuff like that, but I think it's a valid point to bring up where you guys have about the same score. Just saying how ridiculously better it was received is a very valid point. I just wish Kagiso,
Are you about to be swayed by public opinion?
I just wish, Kagiso, you built more on the argument rather than just I like it, I don't like it. Bring reasons why. I think for some reason Jeff got caught up on Sacha Baron Cohen and he got stuck there. And frankly, I just didn't hear enough reasons why not Peter and Wendy and whatever.
Wendy and Peter Pan.
When I saw your answer, I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. Like, what movie are you even referencing? I'm Googling. I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't even. So it's such a. But you did a good point for not just arguing it forgettable but bad. And for that, Caleb gets this point. And I believe that makes it 3-2. 3 Jeff. No, 3 Caleb.
Whoa, Jeffrey, you are so good at this.
So Caleb, you've got 3, and Jeff, you've got 2, which means that going into the speed round, you've got some ground to cover to make up. But we'll see how it goes as we enter the speed round showdown. Dun dun. Okay, so going into this speed round showdown, once again, I remind you, you have 2 points, he has 3 points. So there are 5 questions. So I will let you know when we're on like a match point and you have to win it in order to be able to win. So you're fighting an uphill battle, but we believe in you. We've heard you fight and you can do it. Are you both ready? Well, before you are, let me quickly read you through the rules. So I will ask a question. Answers will be first come, first serve. In other words, whoever answers first gets their answer. The other person has to take a different answer. If you can't give us an answer, you forfeit the point. So it's super important that you give us an answer within the allotted time. Then, one person at a time will debate for 20 seconds to give you an initial argument. So 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Then it will be followed by 15 seconds, 15 seconds. The winner will be decided by a combination of myself and Kagiso. And if we don't agree about who gave the best argument, Suela behind the camera will break the tie. The overall winner will be the person who reaches the unbeatable amount of points. Understood? Let's get into it.
Jeffrey, good luck. Good luck, bro.
Okay. Question number 1. Who is the best movie dad?
Jonathan Kent.
From, okay, yeah. 5, 4.
Oh man, I'm eating a blank.
1. Answer. And that's our first forfeit, ladies and gentlemen.
For Superman!
I know how those blanks feel. They strike
I hit
hard.
the blank.
No, I won't lie. Like, I had to look around for something to jog my. At one point, it's like the dinosaur from Dinosaurs.
I really could have gone like Anthony Stark or someone.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Caleb,
You could
that's
have
your
even said
point.
Darth Vader.
No, it would have been terrible, but yeah.
It was an answer.
That's your point. So now it is 4-2.
Okay.
Question number 2. This is a this or that. Luca or Moana?
Moana.
Luca.
Okay. Caleb, I heard you first. Oh, just give me a second. Just want to get the clock ready. 20 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
If we want to talk about memorable musicals, Moana is never out of that discussion. Lin-Manuel Miranda did a fantastic job of writing songs that stick with you through days, through weeks, through months. I still sing those songs, but visually it's beautiful as well, and it tells an absolutely uplifting story while also introducing us to a diverse culture that isn't represented often.
Okay, hold on. I'll tell you when. And 20 seconds on the clock in 3, 2, 1.
Luca is a movie that brings the kids to the cinemas. It's really fun, enticing. It has a deep, uplifting story behind it that even got parents questioning a lot of things and wanting to instill those kind of morals into their children. And it really had a fun time at the movies with the kids. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. And your 15-second rebuttal in 3, 2, 1.
You put a huge focus of your film on the children aspect of it, like getting children to the cinema. Moana is great because it's for the whole family. You can watch it no matter what age you are, no matter how young you are. There are elements about the film that you will enjoy no matter what. And I also just really want to elevate.
Time. You can't. Okay. And your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, you spoke about Moana and all the musical numbers and that. It's great. It's very memorable at times, but I think now the sequel has superseded that, and it's no longer going to be the focus of what kids want to have in their lives anymore. So I don't know what else I'm saying.
You'll be shocked when Luca 2 comes out.
Your favorite argument. Okay. KG, I think it's pretty clear who won that.
very
So
clear.
we'll just state that. Caleb, that's your point.
You could have done the funniest thing and just gone, Jeffrey.
So that's 5-2. I'm letting you know, in order to be able to tie, you need to get this next one. Okay. Question number 3. Ooh, it's a fun one. Earlier, we recasted the main players in the X-Men team. Let's think smaller. Recast the X-Men villain, Juggernaut.
John Cena.
Juggernaut.
5,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay, I like it. Okay, 20 seconds on the clock. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
I think we can all agree that John Cena has proven himself as a diverse actor, but he also brings a lot of physicality to the role. When we think about Juggernauts, this is a character who, the moment he gains momentum, never stops. And that's actually a big part of the John Cena character, never giving up, as in metaphorically, he is just going to keep going. He has the muscles and he has the acting chops to bring that character to life.
Time. Okay, 20 seconds on the clock.
You talk about
3, 2, 1, go.
You talk about physicality. I don't think it necessarily is an important part for this character if it's going to be a CGI character. So yes, I've also picked a guy with a big physique, but I think with the voice, it is a big part if they're going to do a CGI character. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has got this big, deep voice. When I hear John Cena, all I think about is wrestling and sad.
Okay, time. And 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
You can't negate a performance just because you think it's only going to be CGI. CGI isn't the be-all and end-all of a performance. Emotion is. And we've seen the reason John Cena is as popular as he is because he is amazing at storytelling, using his voice to tell a story.
Okay, and your time starts in 3, 2, 1.
I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is also capable of doing those emotive character elements, and he can bring that to the character, and who has a traumatic past and has to really argue his point and be very, very demeaning.
Okay. Kagiso, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you think won that round?
Jeff, you almost won it, man. You just
I
dropped the
figured,
ball.
I know I dropped the ball. I'm not good at these speed rounds,
are you
bro.
saying Caleb?
Yeah.
Let me just check my notes here. This is the moment where we crown the main character of this episode. For the very first time, Caleb Janssens.
Yes!
Winner of this episode.
That makes my heart very happy. Thank you very much.
Fine, man.
Jeff, the problem is never say, I don't know what to say anymore. Rather ramble than admit confusion.
I'm not good at rambling, Vincent.
So that's the thing.
it's
We've
fine.
got a quick talk in our hands, and sometimes the quick talkers pull through, and today they did. And
Well
we
done.
have a victor
Well done, bro.
in Caleb. Caleb, how does it feel to be a winner on your own channel for the
I want
first
to
time?
face Bruce. And Bruce, I want a rematch. I will see you one day.
Yeah, you will, and we'll see if you pull through because Bruce is good.
Bruce
But you might be
sucks.
better.
He's so good.
I just want to take this opportunity to give you all a little voice to say a little thing. We'll start with Kagiso. Tell us, plug yourself. Where do we find you? What you're busy with?
It's your boy K the Great. You can find me on the Instagrams, on the socials is Life as K Great, and it's Creating with K Great on YouTube. It's Life is K Great all social media platforms. I have a YouTube channel. I teach how to create, how to shoot, how to edit, and this is gonna be vlogged. The vlog is gonna be there.
That's awesome. Kagiso, it's always fun to have you. We knew you'd give us some very clippable moments, and clippable moments you gave. Jeffrey, tell us what you've got going on. Where can people find you?
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to be on the show today. I really had a lot of fun, as much as I stumbled in my speed rounds. I promise I'll practice. Caleb, I'm coming for you. Rematch. Just want to say your plot armor's wearing thin and you need a rewrite. So, this is going to happen sooner or later, but it's always fun. You guys can find me on Instagram. I've been encouraged by my good friends to start posting more. So you can see my adventures and what I'm getting up to. Life's been very great, and I have all the thanks to my friends around me.
Awesome. Caleb, people know where to find you. I will not give you an opportunity to speak. Frankly, you've spoken enough. So on that note, we just also like to thank God for making this possible, for giving us an opportunity to have fun, speak with friends, and fight but love after the camera stopped rolling still. Thank you to him for making this possible. And if you don't know him, maybe go get to know him. Then I'd also want to thank Tabadin, who made these empty cocktails, mocktails, no alcohol, we don't drink. And they were delicious, and we always say when the camera stopped rolling that they're our favorite part of the show. So thank you to Tibadin once again. And finally, thank you to JJ, who did the caricature drawings that are off screen. Here's to, every time someone loses their plot armor virginity, they get a stamp of approval from JR Art and Designs. So thank you to him. But that's enough talking and enough fighting. Go out there and love each other. We'll see you every other other Monday. Bye bye now.